If you'll be receiving child support or paying child support from your co-parent, this message is for you. Hi, I'm Pamela, the Divorce Mystic. There has never been a client that I've seen that's been happy paying support to a co-parent without any rules or guidelines on how the money is to be spent. Similarly, I've never seen a client who has been happy and satisfied that the amount of money they'll be receiving in child support from their co-parent is sufficient. And that's where the misconception comes in. Child support is not meant to be a totality of the expenses of the parent who's receiving that support. It's meant to be a contribution towards housing, water, gas, food, clothes, car, gas for the car, etc. It's not meant to pay the totality of all expenses. Additionally, states use guidelines. Why are guidelines used? Guidelines are a real easy way of coming up with a child support number in a jurisdiction by the way that they address their formula, the factors that they have in their formula, whether they use income or a combination of things. This video is not about guidelines, but the point is that it spits out a number. It's very easy for those numbers to be calculated and a number to be spit out for one party to pay the other. And that's great for people who cannot agree to a child support plan themselves, or who are incapable of coming up with a solution that works best for both of them. Another misconception is that the person who's receiving support has a right to. It's not the parent's right to receive support. It's the child's right to receive the child support. The person who's receiving it, or the parent receiving it, they're acting kind of like a custodian, if you want to look at it that way, as they disperse those funds. If you think about from the payer's perspective, there's never going to be an agreement that can be reached on how child support money should be spent. Parties who are in a marriage don't agree on how money should be spent, let alone parties that are co-parenting in two different homes. How are they going to come to terms and an agreement on what type of food, organic or not? Clothing, Target, Bloomingdale's? I don't know. If they can't agree when they're married, it's really hard to expect them to agree when they're living in two separate homes. However, because the guidelines are used, I'm going to just say it, as an easy method for courts to determine child support, that doesn't mean that it's the only way. There are many clients that I've worked with, and many other attorneys have worked with, where clients say, hell with that. We want a plan that addresses our issues, one that's more comfortable to us. And that would be one that makes the payer more comfortable if they're paying amount of support to the other side, or the person on the receiving end, that parent's going to feel comfortable with the amount they receive. There may be another plan that some amount of money may be exchanged, but they may have a list of expenses that each is responsible for. Rather than paying one support from one to another, each parent may make payments directly to a third party in support of a child support arrangement, and pay for anything that's in their own home directly by themselves without money transfer, or there may be some type of a reconciliation. The point is, if parties can see that children depend on them to make decisions regarding their financial stability, they look to the parents and depend on the parents to make good decisions for them. And in reality, just because people are in a divorce, most people do the right thing by their children, right? So if you can get past the idea that I don't agree with how he or she does A, B, or C, and said, hey, how can we come up with a solution that meets both of our needs with a focus on what's really important, and that is the children receive what they need financially. That can be done if and not only can it be done, it can be done easily, and it can be done rather taking into consideration what the guidelines would be if there was no agreement or not. The point is not to feel like there's no answer for you or no option for you other than to either be the payer of the amount a guideline shows you, or the receiving end, being on the receiving end of an amount that the guideline shows. There is a way to work together. There is a way to make it work for the kids, your children, and that neither party will feel uncomfortable. Choose wisely. And know that one of the bonuses of doing it this way is that each year you could put in your agreement that each year we're going to take these steps that you create in order to determine if there's a need to modify it in any way. And finally, most courts, if the children are being taken care of and they know, they can see based on the agreement language that children will be taken care of under this agreement, they're likely to sign it. Although they always have control and final jurisdiction over child custody and child support needs, if they see that the parents are working together, not only does it make them happy because it keeps the courts clear of these cases, but it also takes the pressure off of them to worry about whether or not the children in this case will be taken care of. Choose wisely. Until we meet again, friend.